Excuse me. Thanks for joining us here today. We're going to kick off. Unfortunately, Nassim Hamid's not arrived yet. Nothing changes. So he will be here hopefully soon, and we can he'll join us. It's a big turnout for Hughie, you guys, and I think it's brilliant you've all come here today to meet with him. Right, we've got bad news to kick off with first of all, is that Billy Joe Saunders unfortunately has sustained a hand injury, and he will not be fighting on the 30th of April at the Copper Box. Very, very disappointed about that, but it is what it is, and we can't risk the fight that we got planned for him in the summer with him taking part in a fight on the 30th of April. So we will come back to you within the next few days or so to give you an update of what's happening with Bill. He's at the back of the room if anybody wishes to ask him any questions, but that's the situation. But the good news is we're moving forward with the show, making sure all the fighters that have trained and worked hard to sell tickets for the show are going to be fighting on that day at the Copper Box. We have got Hughie Lewis Fury, who sits to my right, who's going to be fighting for the vacant WBO Intercontinental Heavyweight title against Fred Cassie from New Orleans, US. We're very delighted that we're involved now in promoting Hughie. It's for us, it's a privilege. He obviously comes from a fighting family. He's got a fantastic pedigree as far as an amateur's concerned, and he's gone a little bit under the radar as far as young heavyweights are concerned. He's 19-0. He's done everything that's been asked of him, both amateur and pro. He's never been on the floor as an amateur or pro, and this fight will get him a ranking in the top 5 of the world if he wins this title, which he's confident. I know Peter and Mick are as well, that he will do so. And he gets himself in the mix. You know, the British heavyweight division at the moment is a very, very sexy division. We see a show the weekend, and Anthony Joshua put in, from his perspective, a very fine performance and done everything that was asked of him and walked away with the IBF title. So he's holding a version of the title at the moment. It's the version that Tyson had to vacate because he was being forced to make a defence of the IBF title, and rather than do that, he wanted to fulfil his commitments with a rematch with Klitschko, which obviously is a much more important fight. So Joshua's in there, the linear champion, the number 1, Tyson Fury's there, and his cousin is looking to join him. I suppose in some ways they might become, if he does what's expected of him, the Britain's answer to the Klitschko's, but more exciting. And it certainly, as I say, has the pedigree to do it. And I'm really looking forward to promoting him, being involved in him with Mick and Peter on this journey, getting him there. He's had more fights than Anthony Joshua, 19 fights. I think he's fought, if not better, but certainly as good as opposition that Anthony Joshua's fought. And who knows, they might even want to make that fight this year. I'm sure there will be no resistance from the Fury camp to make that fight. So as I say, he's on there and we're moving forward with him. Also on the card is Liam Walsh fighting against Troy James for the British and Commonwealth Super Featherweight Championship. Orville Mackenzie against Dimitrios Kucha for the vacant European Cruiserweight title. And then we've got Ryan Walsh in a cracking fight against James Tennyson from Belfast. And I'm pleased to announce that I've linked up with 2 guys that I used to promote. One's not here at the moment, as I've said, but Ricky Hatton, and I'm really looking forward to working with Ricky and working with Naz on a regular basis now. We're going to be working together very closely on promoting fighters that Ricky looks after and also Naz looks after. And for me, it's a little bit of a sort of full circle. All these years ago, we worked together. We had some fantastic times making some great fights, and these guys winning some, being involved in some really exciting fights, and some of the, the sort of big fights of their generation. And to be coming back here now and working with them is brilliant. A lot of water has gone under the bridge at the time when they went their own ways. That was not due down to arguments between Ricky and myself, or Naz and myself. It was down to third parties and misrepresentations and information that was given to them. But that's all gone, and the most important thing is moving forward and today and the future. And as I say, I'm really looking forward to working with them and promoting the fighters. And as you can see, we've got Nathan's Gorns here, and we've got Naz's fighter, Tony Bang, when he finally gets in. I hope he's not going to take after Naz as well and turn up late for press conferences in the future. So as I say, great show, some big names on there, some names from the past involved in the show, some names for the future, and the 30th should be a real good night for, I think, seeing the next generation of the really good quality British young fighters in the UK. Everybody's here. I'm quite sure you've got some questions to ask, so please feel free to do so. And just to tell you afterwards, when Tyson gets here, obviously you'll be able to speak to him and the rest of the camp. Anyway, any questions, please feel free to ask them.
Hughie, Frank's mentioned comparing yourself and Tyson with the Klitschko brothers. Do you see that comparison favourably? Yeah, definitely. It's possible, and train hard, and me and Tyson's definitely going to be the next champions of the division, 100%, because confidence is there, and I don't really see much out there in the heavyweight division. What's stopping me? It's a wide open, so I'm going to get the right fights underneath me and make my mark now, and that's it, be following Tyson's footsteps. Apart from Tyson, if you ignore Tyson, who is the biggest threat out there? I don't really see much of a threat out there, to be honest with you.
He's had great grounding. When you think about it with you, he's had fantastic grounding. You know, Nick and Peter, he's taken him everywhere. He's been fighting all over the place, all over Europe, and getting the wins. And he's been doing it without the benefit of going to Sheffield and getting all those facilities laid on for him from, Team UK up there. He's been doing this the hard way, the halls, not getting subsidised by the British taxpayer. He's been doing it himself. And this guy has done it the hard way. And he's coming from a camp, and when you think about the camp that he's coming from, it's had the best preparations over the last couple of years. Tyson Fury has never skimped on, when you think about it, with the sparring partners that they've brought in, and Hughie's worked with all of them, and he's working with the number one heavyweight in the world, the linear world champion, and he's a young lad, and he's been working with him, so he's picking up all that experience, and you cannot buy that. He's done it the hard way. The hard way is the best way, and that's what he's done, and how it. And you've got to take your hat off to him. And this is a big moment for him on the 30th. He gets out there, does what I believe he'll do. It then takes him forward, and within the next 12 months, I'd be very surprised if he's not fighting for a world title, a version of a world title. I mean, nobody would have complained, say, a month ago if they'd have made Anthony Joshua, the British Boxing Board of Control, had made Anthony Joshua for his British title, and Hughie as a mandatory. He wouldn't have pulled out of it, and they'd have made it, and it would have gone ahead. So that's the level that he's at.
He put up a good performance. Listen, he done what he done. But let's put it this way: when I fight for a world title, I won't be getting paid to lay on my back. So basically, that's what it's come for, payday.
I just say you only have to look at his amateur pedigree, and if you want to go and watch his fights on YouTube in the World Youth Amateur Championships, he's the first fighter from this country to win a heavyweight world title in the youths, and 5 brilliant performances against world-class opposition. Fantastic. Just go and watch it. He weren't gifted one of those. Not one of those in a major event was he gifted a fight. He won them clean, unanimous, won every second of every round. This is the quality of Hughie Fury. And
but look, he's fighting people that nobody else wants to fight. He's not protected with a promoter. Look, I pick his fights. This guy is fighting Fred Cassie. Awkward, southpaw, orthodox, leans back. He's got a draw with Areola, which he beat. So he's learning his job properly. He's learning when he gets in difficult situations. He's learning how to deal with different styles. These opponents are not picked to make Hughie look good. These opponents are picked to give him hard work, let him think on his game, and opponents that ain't coming just to be knocked out and say, oh, spectacular. Hughie needs to shine when he fights for a world title, and that's when he will shine. This is a young kid coming through, 21. Nobody is where Hughie Fury's at. Nobody. For 21 years of age. Excellent pedigree, as Frank and Mick said. And, you know, he's learning his job properly. So when he does come to fight for a world title, make no mistake, he'll be taking it.
We know he's got gas. We know he can do 10 rounds. He's done that. You know, his first year, 12 fights in the first year. How many fighters do that, let alone heavyweights? You know, he's been active, he's been busy, and I'm sure they won't mind me saying so, he's done that with a disability. You know, he had a blood disorder because of he was allergic to a certain food, and he carried that through, and it was a very debilitating condition that he had, and they've addressed that. I know Peter and Mick had him with one of the top specialists who diagnosed him and sorted out the diet and so forth. So it can only get better, and he's done all that because he's a fighting man. You know, you look at him, 19 fights in, 3 years? 19 fights in 3 years. How many nowadays, what's guys have, 4 fights a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks Frank for having us here. Yeah, Nathan is very, very talented. Only very inexperienced. He only had 12 fights as an amateur. After 9 fights, he was already in the Great Britain squad. He won the ABAs, knocking out every opponent in every round. Boxing the World Youth Championships, but he's one of some of the best world, fighters, from the youths, if you like, the youth level. And he's been working with me for a long, long time. He's getting better and better all the time. I mean, he's, to get in the Great Britain squad after 9 fights, I think that shows, natural ability, and it's great that I'm being able to work with Frank, and I've got a gym full of a lot of national amateur champions, but obviously they need to be on that platform, and that's what, teaming up with Frank can deliver them. I think I've got fighters that people need to see, such as Nathan, and I think it's fantastic that I'm giving that opportunity for them to fight on such a big flat platform as this Bill. So it's only early days, you know what I mean? He's got people out there to aspire to in Britain this minute in the heavyweight division, such as Tyson Fury, such as Anthony Joshua, who have won the world titles, David Hay for that matter. It's a great time to be in British boxing. You've got Hughie just coming up behind. What a great position Hughie's in, to take the advice from his brother and Peter and Mick, because they've proven with Tyson that what they say works, so it's great for Nathan to be able to look up to these fighters and use them as the one that he wants to aspire to. But I think you're going to be very, very impressed with Nathan. It's only early days. He's only had 2 pro fights to his name, but I think he's a very, very, very special talent. And I think given time, I think he's got the potential to be exactly where the gentlemen have just mentioned are. So I'm looking forward to being there on the night and working with him and working with Frank.
All on Box Nation. The channel of real champions.
Nathan, why have you turned over professional so young when you could have stayed on GB, possibly for the 2020 Olympics?
As we were saying before, I got in the GB squad within 9 fights. I was on there for a good year, and I didn't want to wait around for a good 4 or 5 year for the 2020 Olympics, so I decided to turn pro and get some good experience behind me. So that's why I done it.
But do you accept that Fraser Clark and Joe Joyce are always going to be the 2 day?
Yeah, because those are the 2 favourites, so that's why I turned pro.
Any other questions? Well, I'm afraid Naz is not here yet, so I think we'll call that one a day, and we'll get on with the next conference if that's good for everybody.